You know that feeling, right? We've all been there. You feel hurt or misunderstood or completely rejected. And what's our first instinct? To chase. To send that long text, to make that one more call, to just fight for our side of the story, just hoping we get the validation we're so desperate for. But what if that instinct is actually the very thing causing all our pain?
So that's the big question we're going to dive into. Why do we have this almost compulsive need to prove our worth to people who, let's be honest, have already decided they're not going to get it? Well, it turns out the ancient Stoics had a really powerful and kind of counterintuitive answer.
I mean, this is the classic script, isn't it? We fire off that long paragraph explaining everything. We might even beg a little. We lay all our feelings out on the table, and we tell ourselves we're being brave, but really, we're just handing over all of our power, hoping someone else will be kind enough to give us our peace back.
And this right here, this is the whole game. On one side, you have that raw emotional gut instinct, chase, react, explain. But on the other, you have the disciplined Stoic approach, detach, observe, and be silent. It's a huge shift from a frantic reaction to a quiet, intentional action. And trust me, that shift is everything.
Okay, so let's break this down first. Why is our natural reaction, our instinct to chase so fundamentally flawed? Well, because that act of chasing, it isn't strength. It's a direct pipeline to giving away all of your internal control.
This is the core Stoic idea. Epictetus nailed it. When you value things you can't control, like someone else's opinion of you, their attention, their approval, you are literally placing your well-being right in their hands. You make your peace dependent on something you can never, ever truly control. We can call this the validation trap. And it's a prison we build for ourselves. You're basically saying to the other person, my happiness, my sense of worth, it all depends on how you respond to me right now. And that, right there, that's not peace. That's a cage.
So, how do you break free? The Stoics taught that the first and honestly the most powerful move you can make is to simply stop. Just stop. Stop explaining, stop chasing, and start embracing strategic silence. This is the moment you start taking your power back.
You know, begging someone for closure is so damaging because it locks you into this horrible, painful loop. You demand answers, they give you the runaround, or just straight up avoidance. Then you feel even worse than before. So what do? The cycle repeats. This isn't healing. It's a form of self-betrayal. And here's the big light bulb moment. True closure, it almost never comes from a conversation with the person who hurt you. It comes from an internal decision. It's you deciding to accept the situation and to walk away with your dignity. It is an act of self-respect that you give to yourself. Man, I love this quote from Epictetus because it's just so direct. Your worth isn't proven by a perfectly worded text message. It's proven by your actions. It's proven by the dignity you show when you choose to protect your own peace instead of begging for someone else's understanding. You have to embody your value, not just talk about it. Now, once you stop talking, something pretty incredible starts to happen. Your silence becomes this powerful tool. And it's not for punishment, it's for observation. It strips away all the noise, all the drama, and it just lets the truth rise to the surface.
Think of it like this. Your silence holds up a mirror. When you refuse to react, you force the other person to actually confront their own actions, their own intentions, their own behavior, without the convenient distraction of your emotional response. They finally have to sit with what they did.
I mean, the difference is just crystal clear. Words can create illusions, right? They can be used to justify bad behavior or offer up some empty apology. But silence? Silence reveals the undeniable reality of their actions. You can argue with words all day long, but you can't argue with absence.
And this is a hard truth, but it's a necessary one. If someone is already committed to misunderstanding you, more words are just wasted breath. Seriously, if your quiet withdrawal doesn't make them stop and think, a 1,000-word essay definitely won't. Because when you go silent, people can't help but reveal their true nature. The person who genuinely values you, they'll be concerned by your absence. They'll try to connect. The user who only wanted something from you will just vanish. Poof, gone. And the manipulator, oh, they'll get angry. Because you just took away their control over your emotions.
So all of this brings us to the ultimate expression of this entire philosophy. Your silence isn't just a tactic. It becomes a powerful statement of confidence, of self-respect, and of quiet, unshakable strength.
I mean, really think about that.
True, deep confidence is at peace with being misunderstood. It doesn't feel that frantic, desperate need to defend itself because it already knows its own worth. It's calm, it's rooted, it's unshakable.
Marcus Aurelius reminds us that our time and our energy are so incredibly finite and precious. Every single moment you spend trying to convince someone of your worth is a moment that's being stolen from your own life, your own growth, your own peace. It's just not a good trade.
And ultimately, there is one lesson that is more powerful than any argument, any plea, any explanation you could ever give, and that is the lesson taught by your absence. People rarely learn from our words. They learn, if they're going to learn at all, from the empty space we leave behind.
And this is the ultimate power shift. They are expecting a reaction. They want the drama, the anger, the chasing. And what do you give them instead? Quiet dignity, peace, absence. You simply refuse to play their game. And that is a move they have absolutely no counter for.
Now, I want to be really clear about this. This whole idea isn't about becoming cold or emotionless. Not at all. Stoic detachment is actually a profound act of self-care. It means you care so much about your own inner peace that you refuse to leave it in a place where you know it's going to be disrespected.
And if there's just one thing you take away from this whole explainer, let it be this. Let your silence be your final, powerful, and definitive statement. Not out of spite, but out of a deep and unshakable respect for yourself.
So I'll leave you with this question to really think on. When you finally choose to walk away with that quiet dignity, what is the lesson your absence will teach? To them, maybe, but much more importantly, what will it teach you?